Welcome back, fellow Switch bargain hunters, and happy Halloween to those of you who celebrate it. I hope you're having a smashing day. If it's your first time here, then let me fill you in. The Switch has some excellent eShop sales on at all times, but the store is not a great place to browse. In this weekly video series, we do that for you and highlight our favourite picks across the UK, EU, and US eShops. So let's jump in and get to it. Juan, Jordan, what are your picks this week?
Hey then everybody, happy Halloween. If you haven't checked out our ultimate horror list with over 100 horror games on it, then make sure you check that out. One of the games that was on there was Alien Isolation, and it's also the game that I'm going to pick for this week's bargains. Alien Isolation has a 50% off in all regions just in time for the Halloween holidays. So you're looking at £14.99 in the UK, £17.49 for our friends in Europe and in the US. And Alien Isolation really for me is a true survival horror experience as you try to outsmart the xenomorph with your limited resources. Now the runtime here is around 20 hours or so, and the game does branch out after the first few hours. It's very tense as the xenomorph hunts through the ceilings, but you're also not alone. There's also androids on the ship to worry about too. If you want your dose of horror this Halloween, then Alien Isolation, the port's very, very good. I very much recommend it on the Nintendo Switch. Take care, everybody. See you again next week.
Hey, how you doing, everyone? It's Jordan here, just out and about, just doing some chores. While I'm out, I thought I'd do my bargain of the week. Now this week I'm going for a Shmup Collection, literally. Here we have a triple pack of really great shooters. We've got Tasos next, we've got Armed something, I forgot its name, but it's a red mech shooter. And also we've got the other one, Wolflame, that's the one. Sorry, I'm trying to remember here. Anyways, I reviewed this on the channel back when it released digitally, and I found them to be three really great shooters, like surprisingly so. I mean, not like the best, but just very well made. Like the people who made them, they know what makes a shmup. And in Europe, it's 70% off. In North America, it's only 50% off. So yeah, better off in Europe. It's just over £4, which for three really nice shooters is excellent value, and I highly recommend that you go check it out. As you can see, a nice little Chinese park there behind me, contrasting against the city over here. What a world we live in.
Thanks, both great picks there. Now I'm going for Super One More Jump. First and foremost, this is a one-button platforming game. The rest is about timing that button press to make your sprite jump at exactly the right moment. The controls feel really good and responsive, and any death here is going to be your own fault. It sounds like it's the most simplistic game in the world, and there can't be much to it, but like any good addictive game, it absolutely gets the mechanics and controls bang on. It is a quality game on the Switch, make no mistake about it. Everyone should try this, especially at this price. It's easy for these games to get lost amongst all the other titles, but it would be a shame to miss out on the quality and fun for all the family this delivers throughout. One more jump? Yes, please. Crash, bang, and wallop. That's generally what happens when you play Lonely Mountains Downhill for the first time. This is a biking adventure that is the epitome of easy to pick up but difficult to master as you fly down the various trails on each mountain, from forests to canyons. There is also a whole host of shortcuts and branching paths that you can take, but often they will require more precise handling to pull off. It's colourful, it's wonderful, and it's something a little bit different and nice fast-paced. Bug Academy is a silly physics-based puzzler where you can play as one of four bugs: houseflies, bumblebees, mosquitoes, and fireflies, in ridiculous tasks like tossing cows and trying to paint a picture as a mosquito after sucking up paint. It's absurd and a really good laugh. The controls are a little bit frustrating, possibly intentionally actually, which adds to the difficulty, and with a simple rating system you can breeze through fairly easily or repeat each zone multiple times to get that perfect solution. It's worth a look if you like a nice puzzle game. Rogue Heroes Ruins of Tasos is a 4-player classic adventure game with modern roguelike elements. It's a dungeon crawler combined with town building simulation done expertly well in a 2D world. The overworld here is superb, inviting you to explore its classic Zelda-like world as you grow your town hub and unlock new classes. You really get that sense of progression and satisfaction. This is a real gem of a game, and playing it in local co-op especially is a blast. The SteamWorld series has a wonderful steampunk vibe, and this time it's back in the form of a turn-based strategy game featuring a brilliant soundtrack recorded by Steam-powered Giraffe and lovely visuals as well. You and your team of robots roam the galaxy in a space adventure. The gameplay is deep and rewarding, with an excellent aiming mechanic and lots of combos, cover and strategic decisions to be made. There are countless hours of tactical fun to be had here. This is great either on a TV or in handheld mode, and it has 75% off, making it an epic bargain. One that is a must-have for all strategy genre fans. Sticking with the SteamWorld series, next up, it's SteamWorld Quest: Hand of Gilgamech. This time around, it is the form of a turn-based RPG. It is fresh and fun to play with an intriguing and deep combat system that uses cards to great effect, something that I love in games. The graphics and music are at the level that we have come to expect from these guys. This is another brilliant game from them. This is a horror game that uses what you can't see to build tension. It expertly builds an atmosphere through its wonderful use of sound and visuals, with the paintings themselves being a real star of the show actually. While the gameplay leaves a little bit to be desired in that there could have been more for players to do, by design this is a walking simulator for you to experience a very good horror story which will keep you glued until the credits roll. If you're a horror fan and want something a little bit different this Halloween, then this is a worthwhile game to experience to add to your collection. Layers of Fear 2 is a bit of a mixed bag actually. The first one that we just talked about was really good at building tension. This time around they went quite ambitious and there's a mixed result. In some ways some of the acts are better than the first, and others just drag on and repeat the same sort of tension building. If you had to go for one, to be honest, I would pick the first, but if you really enjoyed it and want more of the same, then give this one a look. I've taken a lighter tone when it comes to horror and death. Flipping Death's premise is basically that of the wonderful Terry Pratchett Discworld book Mort. After dying, your character Penny is mistaken by Death as her temporary replacement while he swans off on a well-deserved break. It makes for a great story. Gameplay-wise, it's similar to Stickers to the Man, with its quirky style and mechanics that have you meddling with the locals by possessing them. Whilst it has a bit of platforming, this is mostly a point-and-click adventure game with a great story and bags of character. LA-MULANA and its sequel are Indiana Jones-inspired puzzle platform adventures renowned for being extremely tough to tackle, with no hand-holding and an open world that can be taken on in any order. These fiendishly difficult games take you back to the tough classics that inspired it from an age when you needed a notepad to write down things you would need to know later. With 50% off on part 2, it's a really great bargain, but for those that love physicals, there's a wonderful looking Hidden Treasures physical, complete with a puzzle art book, soundtrack, and a collector's box as well. Guacamelee is a game that needs no introduction. It's a magical and creative title that fully embraces the Lucha Libre, wrestling and mystical folklore of Mexico. Mashing it together with some humour and a fantastic game, wrapping it all together, the Super Turbo Championship Edition on the Switch brings lots of little enhancements as well as new areas to be explored. And they follow this up with Guacamelee 2, and it's more of the same with some nice new touches as well. It's a brilliant game that I would recommend you play. Well, to be honest, I'd recommend that you pick up both of these. They're just great games with bags of character. Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York is a visual novel based on a popular and deep series that expanded out of tabletop gaming, and it shows. There's depth here with excellently written story, and though there isn't a whole lot of choice making or gameplay, it sucks you into its fantastic world for another bite. Dear oh dear. 70% off is attractive. This is a worthwhile vampire rump. Blackbird is a nuts shooter where you control a bird in a bizarre plot across 4 levels where you need to shoot down both enemies and, morbidly, mow down passers-by to gain high scores. Even though there isn't a whole lot of story, what is there that you can interpret is pretty cool. The game itself is quite short, but its replayability is in keeping combos going as long as possible to get those scores. Its style is awesome too, with pixel art and a great sepia sort of palette tone of colours, and with 50% off, it really does offer decent value. Don't overlook this one. Earthlock is a love letter to JRPGs of the PS1 era, with its turn-based combat, open worlds to explore, and classic mechanics. The game is well crafted, and whilst it's fair to say that it's unlikely to be many people's absolute favourite, it just does everything really well and clocks up an impressive amount of content, making this one a real bargain at this price point. Speaking of love letters, here's another one. Lumo is a love letter to isometric platformers, a genre that has been quite dormant for a really long time. It features some upgraded visuals and sounds, and throws in a bunch of puzzles for good measure. There are 400 rooms to navigate, and these are a real blast to be played in short bursts or for longer sessions. There are lots of nods to the games that came before it, but if you don't catch them, it really won't impact your enjoyment. It's an addictive little game that really is worth picking up and has a very nice 90% off. This is an action RPG that is truly an adventure and one of Jordan's favourites to boot. You are shipwrecked on a mysterious island and all the other passengers are spread around. You explore around finding these heroes to bring together to your home base, which gradually builds up, all the while you're trying to plan your escape. But there is a very mysterious link with the eponymous Dana as you switch between them. It's a fascinating story that is always developing. The action combat is excellent, and it's just so fresh compared to many overly serious JRPGs of today. And there you have it, folks. That's it from us today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed putting it together. Thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with us, and we'll be back next week. Is there something that you really think is a great bargain, or is there something great that we've missed? Do let us know in the comments down below, and we'll be back tomorrow with Jordan's weekly physical release roundup. Until I see you then, take care.